Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Monday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to get started with breaking news this morning. 5 Americans who are being held in Iran are expected to be released this morning as part of a prisoner swap.
Under the agreement, the U.S. is also releasing 5 Iranians and releasing $6 billion in Iranian assets. NBC News Tehran bureau chief and correspondent Ali Arouzi joins us now with more on this. Ali, good morning. So let's just start with the very latest. What do we know about the prisoners involved, and what's been some of the reaction today?
Good morning, Joe. Well, as you mentioned, these are 5 U.S. citizens, 4 men and 1 woman. They're also dual nationals. All of them hold Iranian passports as well. Out of the 5 of them, only 3 of their names have been made public so far, and they are 51-year-old Siamak Namazi, who spent more time in an Iranian prison than any other U.S. citizen in history, 59-year-old businessman Emad Sharghi, and 67-year-old environmentalist Morad Tahbaz, who also holds British citizenship. Now, they are all expected to leave today, but as you know, Joe, things are never easy between the United States and Iran, and it's not a done deal until they're on the plane out of here. But they are being exchanged for something around between $6 and $7 billion, depending on the exchange rate. Iran is also getting 5 prisoners, citizens of the Islamic Republic who've been jailed in the U.S. We don't have any of their names, but we do know that there are 5 of them, 5 for the prisoners here that have been imprisoned in U.S. jails, mainly on charges of violating or circumventing U.S. sanctions. As for the release of the prisoners here, Joe, there isn't much of a reaction amongst ordinary Iranians here. You know, the economy is in terrible shape here. People are still reeling over those protests a year ago. So it's not really front and center for most Iranians on this prisoner exchange. It's gone largely unnoticed. That may change in the course of the day once they've changed. But right now, not much reaction on the ground from Iranian people.
So, Ali, let's talk about that $6 or so billion. There are stipulations. The money can only be used for humanitarian purposes. We know last week, NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt spoke with Iran's president through a government translator. He indicated the money belongs to Iran, and they will spend it as they need. Let's listen to that.
What is your expectation of its use? We're told that it's for humanitarian purposes, food and medicine. Do you believe you have the right to use that money in any way that you see fit?
This money belongs to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and naturally, we will decide, the Islamic Republic of Iran will decide to spend it wherever we need it. How to spend our money, of course, it is under the authority of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
So if I hear you clearly, that it will be used for more than humanitarian purposes in your view?
Humanitarian means whatever the Iranian people needs. So this money will be budgeted for those needs. And the needs of the Iranian people will be decided and determined by the Iranian government.
So, Ali, are there any safeguards in place to make sure the money doesn't go for military or nuclear purposes?
Well, Joe, I mean, this is funny. Even when Tehran and Washington make a deal, they don't seem to be reading off the same page. The U.S. says that there are plenty of safeguards in place to make sure that that money will only be used for humanitarian purposes. That money was in a South Korean bank where the Iranians had absolutely no access to it. Now it's in a Qatari bank where they have access to it. And the U.S. says that they put very strict measures in place to make sure that's only used for humanitarian purposes. But as you saw in that interview with our own Lester Holt, Iran's president said, no, that's not the case. We can do what we like with that money. We can spend it however we like. Now, the White House reacted immediately to that interview, saying, no, that's not the case. If the Iranians decide to spend that money on anything other than humanitarian purposes, it can be refrozen. So that's where the two sides stand. But the reality also is, Joe, that even if that money is under strict supervision of the U.S. Treasury Department, it still frees up about $6 or $7 billion in the country for the government here to spend on whatever they like.
All right. Ali Arouzi from Tehran. Ali, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.